What if growth is not a destination you arrive at, but a way of moving through the world every single day? What if there is no finish line, no point where you finally have it all figured out and can coast? For some people, that idea is terrifying. For others, it is the most freeing thing they have ever heard. Because it means you are never behind, you are never too late, and you are never done becoming who you are capable of being. Today, we talk about what it really means to commit to growth for life and why that decision changes everything about how you show up every single day. Welcome back to Thinking and Growing. We have been on a real journey together in this series. We started with intentional thinking, and we have worked through mental obstacles, planting seeds, failure, purpose, gratitude, and thinking bigger. Today, we bring it all together. Because all of those pieces only matter if you commit to them not just for a season, but for the long haul. Growth is not a project with a start date and an end date. It is a lifestyle. And today, we talk about what that lifestyle actually looks like. Let's get into it. There's a story most of us are telling ourselves without realizing it. The story goes like this. Once I get the promotion, I will feel successful. Once I lose the weight, I will feel confident. Once I pay off the debt, I will feel free. Once I reach that goal, then I will have arrived. And everything will feel the way I want it to feel. That story is a trap. Not because goals are bad. Goals are necessary. But because the feeling you are chasing is not waiting at the finish line. It is built along the way. Every person who has chased a major goal and finally hit it knows this feeling. You celebrate for a moment, and then you look around and realize the feeling you expected is not quite there the way you imagined it would be. And then you start chasing the next thing, hoping that one will be different. The myth of arrival keeps you in a permanent state of waiting. Waiting to feel worthy. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting to feel like enough. The truth is, you are already enough to start, and you will grow into more as you go. But you have to be present for the journey instead of just focused on the destination. Committing to lifelong growth is not a motivational decision. It is a practical one. And it requires a few things that most people are not prepared to embrace. It requires humility. The willingness to always be a student, regardless of how much you already know. The most dangerous version of any person is the one who thinks they have stopped needing to learn. I have seen leaders with decades of experience get passed by people half their age because they stopped growing and those younger people never did. Humility keeps you teachable, and teachable people keep growing. It requires patience with yourself. Growth is not linear. There will be seasons where you feel like you are moving fast, and seasons where you feel like you are standing still. Both are part of the process. The standing still seasons are usually when the deepest work is happening, even if you cannot see it yet. Trust the process, even when the process is not giving you visible results. It requires the ability to celebrate progress without stopping. Acknowledge how far you have come. That is not arrogance, that is fuel. But do not let the celebration become a reason to coast. Use it as evidence that the work is working, and then keep going. The most powerful shift you can make is moving from someone who does growth activities to someone who is a grower. It sounds like a small difference, but it is everything. When growth is something you do, it is optional. You do it when you feel motivated, when you have time, when things are going well. But when growth is who you are, it is non-negotiable. It happens regardless of how you feel, what is going on around you, or whether anyone is watching. Building a growth identity starts with the small, daily decisions: what you read, how you respond to setbacks, whether you seek feedback or avoid it, whether you take the hard conversation or the easy silence. Each one of those decisions is either building your growth identity or eroding it. There is no neutral ground. I want you to think about the most growth-oriented person you know, not the most successful, the most committed to growing. What makes them stand out is not their results, it is their consistency. They show up the same way on the hard days as they do on the easy ones. That consistency is a decision they made about who they are. You can make that same decision right now. If this series has been adding value to your life, hit the like button on this video. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. There is a lot more coming and you do not want to miss it. Here is the part of lifelong growth that most people do not talk about. At some point, it stops being just about you. When you commit to growing for life, you become something for the people around you. A standard, an example, a proof of concept that growth is possible at any age, in any circumstance, from any starting point. Your children watch how you handle failure. Your team watches how you respond to pressure. Your community watches what you do with your potential. You may never know how many people your growth is impacting, but it is impacting them. Every person who saw someone refuse to quit has a story about that person. Every person who watched someone grow through something hard carries that with them. Be that person for someone else. Not for the recognition, because it matters. There is no finish line. And that is not a burden. That is a gift. It means every single day you wake up, you have another opportunity to become more of who you are capable of being. Another chance to plant a seed, break through a wall, align with your purpose, or think bigger than you did yesterday. Stay humble enough to keep learning, patient enough to trust the process, consistent enough to build an identity around growth, and generous enough to bring other people along with you. This has been one of the most important series we have done on this channel. Next week, we are wrapping it up with something that makes all of this possible: staying focused. Because none of what we have talked about works if you cannot hold your attention long enough to execute it. Do not miss that one. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and I will see you in the next one. Think deeper, lead better, grow on purpose.